Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday. You know,
Yes.
that's the craziest thing. I don't even know what day it is anymore. The 19th. And I had this idea of talking about what are we resisting today, right? And I think that's something, what you just said, Kathy, is kind of neat that we were resisting getting up early.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, so when we go through these things, when we go through these changes, everything has to adapt at us. And when I say adapt at us, our body has to acclimate to this new idea, right? It's just every time we've set a goal, every time we set this something in the future, our memory is what operates, right? Joe Dispenza says, how many of you believe your thoughts can influence your day?
Oh, absolutely.
So if that's the case, if our thoughts can influence our day, then the question is how many of us, now that this is a kind of unique little tribe that's starting here, how many of us sit down and start our day with the thoughts we want? And then what happens is that literally, if you've ever been surprised, how many of us have ever been surprised? If any of us have ever been surprised before, what was it? It was like, oh my gosh. So you could see it, you could recognize that the people that were in your house with funny hats on were not a bunch of burglars. You acclimated to the idea, you acclimated to the thought first, and then your body had to acclimate, right? The shock, the surprise. And I think when we say it's a shock to the system is our entire us, from ourselves, right? One of the things that I find coming out of the profession of network marketing is why people get so excited at events and then lose it when they get home or anytime they attend an event. Kathy and I go to a 2-day mastermind and we like, this is now, we're going to talk every week and we're going to do this and all of a sudden it's because here's the reality. When we get excited, the level of chemicals that happen in our brain go into our cells. They have to be used. So when our bodies start to get excited, when I get excited about being here on this call, there's cells in my body that are preparing for the call that's beyond my brain. It's at the subconscious level. It's at the autonomic nervous system. And how is it that Kathy woke up 5 minutes before her alarm today? Why was it a 5 minute? Why was it not 4? Why was it not 10? 5 minutes was enough to say I beat the alarm, enough to say I'm winning. It's rare. Now, I got to tell you, this morning, in total friendship and transparency, I got up at 4. I said, I'm so smart. I said, I got up at 4 and I go, you know what? I can meditate here in bed. Anybody ever have that? Anybody ever lie to yourself? So I meditated. I went, okay, and then because I am smart enough that I know myself, I told Alexa, okay, at 4:30, set me a reminder. The reminder went off, and I thought somebody had thrown cold water on me because I went, oh my God, I missed everything, and I went this, that, and the other. So we have an ability. One of the things that Bob Proctor, I'll never forget him saying, is that a rocket on the way to the moon that we land within a fraction of a second, calculated the formulas, is on target 3% of the time. The other 97% of the time, it is off target. It is off that direct line, right? What's the shortest distance between 2 points? A direct line. We've all seen the meme on Facebook where this is success. This is the reality of success. It's when we have those moments that where we fall back, the thing we're resisting is the change, and the change shows up because it's just the body being the body, right? I couldn't go run a marathon this morning. Well, and not finish it before the news goes. Somebody go pick him up, right? We're not standing here, we're not keeping the clock running for 4 days. But the resistance is the change. How strong the resistance is means how powerful the change is. Kathy, well, it's neat when we surprise ourselves when we beat the change. There's a buddy of mine who's, I guess as guys get older, he says, beat the pee. I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, get out of bed before the urge to have to go pee pushes you out of bed. I don't know if I'll ever be able to use that, but look, here it is on December 18th. I got to use that. So I'd be curious to hear what, if there's been changes that have made you doubt things, that have, just in this short time since Friday, that have made you go, what am I doing? Because that's the ego saying, okay, the change is happening. So Kathy, speak to the 6 o'clock, speak to the alarm going off.
Well, I think, freedom, let's talk about it in a little bit of abstract but specific. One of my core values is freedom. I like to be free. I don't like being told what to do, how to do it, when to do it. I like my personal freedom. It's a big thing to me. Whether that was growing up with the oldest of 5 kids, and so constantly having to, make adjustments for, we all have to do it this way. We all have to eat this. We all have to go here. We all have to do this, because that's how a family works, right? When you've got 5 kids, over the space of 9 years, there's just things you have to do. And so personal freedom has always been, as soon as I start feeling something is going to encroach on my freedom, then I just start resisting it, major. I mean, it's just like, it's instinctive that I'll reject it. Could potentially be a reason why I can't stay married. But it's this whole idea of personal freedom is a big thing to me. So when something, and how that relates to getting up early is because I've made a commitment to be somewhere, I've made a commitment to participate in something. The only thing higher than my value of freedom is my value of being responsible and being there for people and following through on my commitments. So now it's like I'm no longer free to get up when I want. I mean, I haven't gone to an office to work since January of 2009. I haven't had to be somewhere by a certain time in the morning since January of 2009. And I love that freedom. I love that freedom. I love that I can get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and work, or I can sleep until 8 or 9 and get, and all of a sudden I'm like, what the heck are you doing? Now you've said you're going to get up and be somewhere at 6:30 in the morning. What the devil are you doing, right? This is in alignment with your freedom, and then it was just like, wait a minute. It is freedom because it's still your choice, right? And I had to really have that conversation with myself of everything is a choice. And when I start feeling resistance, well, I feel resistance a lot, but I have Steven Pressfield. If you guys are readers, if you're a resistance person like me, just start reading Steven Pressfield and you'll get over it quick. But he has a book called Do the Work. And it's all, I mean, everything Steven Pressfield writes is about resistance, but he's got this little book called Do the Work. You can read it in like 15 minutes, I promise you. But it's this kick in the pants of, what are you doing? What are you complaining about? What are you whining about? Do the work, right? And so for me, this whole idea of resistance is like, okay, I'm resisting getting up. Am I really resisting getting up, or am I resisting having to get up? Right? You got to understand what it is that you're actually resisting and deal with that. So for me, it was like, well, this has no at all infringement on your freedom, because you chose to do this, and you're free to choose not to do this. So I think as soon as we understand that resistance is usually what we're resisting is ourselves, our own intuitive understanding of, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to be doing. And we're resisting our own intuition. Usually we think we're resisting something else, but it's usually our inner compass telling us something. And I'm sure Bob has got some great feedback here in terms of even what the science is behind a lot of this stuff. But for me, it's really we it really comes down to me understanding, why am I resisting that? I really have to understand it. And as soon as I understand it, then I can determine, is it silly? Is it sane? Is it, what is it? And as soon as I can see it for what it is, it's a lot easier to deal with.
One of the things I think it was Robert Cialdini. I put Stephen Pressfield's Google link in there, and so he's the one you also mentioned, the War of Art.
Yes, the War of Art is fantastic. Yeah,
I love that. But I think it's either him or it was or Persuasion, Robert's book.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about there's 6 areas of influence. And it's for a personal. So most times when people set goals, when companies set goals, and we're gonna set a new safety record, and the safety record is we're gonna give everybody a coffee cup if we make it 110 days. Challenge is that there's 6 areas of influence: personal ability, and there's 2 columns for each one: personal ability and personal structure, social ability, social structure, and then environmental ability and structure. So if I want to go get a goal, if I want to lose weight, but Michelle keeps feeding me Haagen-Dazs ice cream and Kit Kat bars, that's my structural environment that doesn't allow it. It's my social environment. Right? If you want to go be healthy, be happy, you want to get up at 6:30, before 6:30 in the morning, before the alarm clock goes off, maybe you don't need, I'm not saying this is just in generalities, we need to stay off social media till 2 o'clock in the morning because somebody started a fight about some political thing or something. So there's all of these structures, and the reason we usually fall short of our goal, won't say fail, fall short of our goal, is because we've only done 1 or 2 out of the 6 opportunities that influence us. But nobody ever talks about it. We don't teach about that. The reason that somebody does do what they do is when they make that internal decision, they begin the act of
there's a there's a Benjamin Hardy. If any of you are Medium readers, he's the most read contributor on Medium, but he did a book this past year called Willpower Doesn't Work.
It does not.
And the whole book is about what you just talked about. It talks about, we think that our willpower, the sheer force of our willpower, will make it possible for us to do something. And he talks about just what we were just outlining, Sean, about the environment and all the very things that decision fatigue, all the things that contribute to it. It's an excellent book. But I think there's a lot to that. And I think we set ourselves up. We either set ourselves up to succeed or fail. And sometimes it's subconscious, sometimes it's conscious. But we actually have it within our sphere of influence to create what will promote and propel our success. And it's usually the things that we ignore where that resistance is to say, no, I don't want to do that. Maybe it's an uncomfortable conversation. Maybe it's a change in an environment that is going to mean letting go of something. It could be anything, right? But it's within our sphere of influence typically to create that. I always tell people growing pains in a company means that they didn't really think that they would succeed. Because if a company goes after something knowing they will succeed, they're prepared for it. So a company that's surprised by success didn't believe they would succeed.
Present company included.
Exactly. So it's like so that's why I like the futurist things that I think like a futurist to say, play it out to the end, right? In your mind, play it out to the end. What if this works? You know, what if we went into this, it's like, what if it works? You know, what if Danya, what if Danya all of a sudden her little town, you know, exploded and somebody built a huge thing near her, or something opened up for her online or whatever. And what if 90 days from now she had 50 new customers? What would she do? Is she ready for that, right? We all have to ask our question. Are we ready when this works? Because that's really where we start finding whether or not we really have limiting beliefs. If we're really preparing for success, then we know we actually believe.
Yeah, that idea, that concept of there is no doubt ceases to exist, and there's a knowing that, right? There's a knowing that you know that you know that you know that you know. But this knowing becomes the awareness of what we have to look at and where we look at. And Elaine says, yes, I'm ready for when it works. But so part of this is going back to Toli, in the moment, right? If it's going to work 6 months from now, it has to work at some moment where it started to work better than it worked before. Right? It's not that it can start because you're already here. You know, if we want to really go back to the start, it was prior to conception when somebody had a twinkle in their eye, right? That's the start of you. And then the start of you is before that, because you're the parent. There is no start, but there's a moment decision where the resistance stops, and it does work. It is working. I can tell you one of the most scariest, most brilliant days, but both of those emotions running parallel was when I watched Mason was C-section. When I watched him come out, he had the cord around his neck, scared the hell out of me. And the doctor goes, "Ooh, good, we had this." You know, it's like a mechanic at that point. "Oh, glad this came out this way." And you're like, "Well, what?" Right? And they clip him, they spank him, or whatever it is, and he's over in the underneath the far infrared light, and he's crying. And I had sang to him "Tura Lura Lura," since we knew he was coming, and I started to sing that, and he stopped and his head turned. I'm like, oh my God. But there was this knowing, how long are you preparing for this moment, getting up before the alarm clock? How long are you preparing for the things that are happening? Because when these challenges show up, I know some of us, since we've been doing this inner work, have had outer challenges. And we still got through those outer challenges like, wow, why would it do that? Because it's a test, whether it's a result or seeing if you're ready, how strong are you to move through the process. So has anyone else experienced a little adjustment in who they are becoming since we've started this process?
Oh my God.
Okay, Emily.
Okay, so let me just tell you, and this like last night's jam session was really, really revealing to me. I as some of you know that are on this call, I made a decision a month ago that I knew how I was finally going to build a network marketing business, and I'm really on fire about that. And at the same time, guess what happened? I have arthritis, and I really, really need a hip replacement. But guess what? In the last 30, 40 days, Linda, you know what I'm talking about. This has gotten epically bad. Like, the pain thresholds have been crazy, and I couldn't figure out. Like, I thought, why the hell am I having this session of, you know, this flare up of pain that's like debilitating, literally debilitating. And last night on the jam session, when we were talking about, and I think the question was something about why are we allowing, and it said pain or whatever, to get in our way?
Yes.
And do you know what? When you said that hit me like a ton of bricks. And do you know, my pain from that moment last night to this morning has reduced the, 0 to 10, it was 15, to about a 2 this morning. Because
and that's the truth.
I was letting I didn't realize it, but I was allowing the pain to be the reason I wasn't stepping out into this new challenge that I've set myself. And now that I've recognized that, I can get it the hell out of my way.
I love it.
Oh boy, it was something.
Or was it more that the pain was an expression of your resistance to being able to do what you really wanted to do?
Well, yeah, because, you know, like, what if I actually followed my heart this time, did what I've got to do, and then I failed again? What the hell would that make me? But if I have pain and I can't work, well,
Yeah, see, for me, I when you asked the original question, Sean, what popped up for me was, is this about permissions? I can imagine you playing in the sandbox. It's not like putting on a performance at Carnegie Hall. It might be like practice for Carnegie Hall, but I'm reminded of Milton Erickson, the father of modern hypnotherapy, said one time, beyond doing it right and doing it wrong, there's a place out back. I'll meet you there. Meaning, we don't have to do it perfectly, but if we stop ourselves, the pain will show up somewhere.
I love that, Bob. I remember reading a story.
I think you're really hitting on something here, Bob, with it. And also Emily, with the understanding that our own internal excuses, our own internal, and maybe not even, excuse might not even be the right word, but our own excuses, our own kind of safety net, our fallback position, right?
That's a good safety net.
Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing. I mean, I have RA, so I get it, right? When I'm feeling an RA flare-up come up and I know the pain is going to be there, I have a choice to make. How much power am I going to give it?
Mm.
And I get it. I totally understand what you're talking about. There have been so many things I chose not to do, using my pain to say, I'm going to choose not to do that because of the pain. And then I go through the whole thing of the guilt, and then the disappointment, and then the frustration, and all the things that go with that, right? And I get it. You know, I had to really push myself to travel this year, and I haven't traveled distances for many years because of this pain. I didn't think I could do it. I forced myself to do it, and I found out I'm made of tougher stuff than I thought.
Yeah. And
I could do it. You know, so kudos to you.
Thanks.
Listen, it takes incredible.
Awakening is very scary.
Yeah, it takes incredible courage. It really takes incredible courage to do what you've done in the last 24 hours.
Thank you.
And I just want to acknowledge you for that, because that takes incredible courage to step out in front of pain. That takes incredible courage, and I applaud you for that.
Thanks.
So
I think sometimes this goes back to the elephant tied to the post from a young age, where we were taught how to not go ahead and explore, not go ahead and do, because someone will come down on us for it. So until you feel the permission to go forth and take those steps.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the other thing too, I'm finding, Emily, is that, and I'll just give you I like practical examples. Like I like to infuse, when we talk about these things, I like to find a context for them. I like things in context, right? Sometimes what we have to face, like what you're facing and what you're doing, you think is about the thing you're doing now. And so many times it's really about preparing you for what you're going to do next. Right? We think this is all about, and everything is about now. Now is all we have. I'm a big proponent of that. But I got to tell you something. I leave tomorrow for Alaska to go see my children. I'm not afraid of this trip. I'm not particularly looking forward to the travel part, but I'm not afraid of it. If I hadn't taken the trip to Cape Cod, I would be deathly afraid of this because I hadn't done anything to make me see that I could do it. One of the reasons we know we can learn new things, one of the reasons we can get past our fear of change, because we've already proven we can. We've already proven everybody on this call, I promise you, there's at least 5 or 6 things that you do today that you do differently than you did a year ago. You learned a new way, you got a new technology, you found something, you learned a new hack, something happened, right? So the reason we know we can do it is because we already have.
Yeah.
Right? And the fact that you did this today, the fact that you had the courage to step in front of that today, it gives me goosebumps to think what that's going to do for you and what the power of that moment is going to be for you in the future.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's going to be some opportunity. Listen, there's going to be some opportunity. I already know this. You already know this. There's an opportunity that's going to come your way that until you had that moment last night, you wouldn't have recognized.
Amen.
That's the importance of it, is what it does for us. It's like that we have to be prepared, right? We have to be prepared, and in our anticipation, be asking ourselves, what do I need to be doing right now? I just wrote a thing for my newsletter next week about the gap in between, the in-between times, the gap. It's some of our most important time because it's our time of preparation.
Yeah.
It's the time we have to prepare. But, you know, kudos to you, and I'm excited for you about what's ahead.
Me too, because I do feel like the last month has been preparation time for me to this new adventure that I'm going toward. But I couldn't figure out where the pain was coming from, where that had a place, and now I recognize it, and it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I actually see the difference in you this morning.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, your movement, right? And all of this stuff, you're this animation of you that's revealing. It's not that it's not you. It's just, it's a you that I haven't seen. So here's the question. We're this close community right now on this call, and we're hearing this wonderful thing where she went from a 15 to a 2 in this pain, and now can operate highly. And there's this gift that's been, a quote, gift that's been given to her. This is where my ego just went. It's like, well, when's it going to happen for me? When's my release going to happen for me? Whatever that is, whatever pain I'm experiencing, how is that going to go away for me? If that's something that's running through your head right now, that's the ego showing up again. Right? We go back into comparison. Well, how come Emily can get it and I can't get it? This is happening at a subconscious level. How many of us have been growing up and our brothers got the ice cream and we didn't? Or my buddy gets to go out with the most beautiful girl in the school, and I wind up parking cars at our prom because I'm smarter and I sold their beer back to them. I mean, we can come up with all of these comparisons. So I know it showed up in my heart, not for me not being able to do what I'm doing, but this, as a trainer, as a coach, as a mentor, I said, oh my gosh, and maybe that's my ego as well. So I'm just being totally what's happening in my heart. I'm sitting, wow, I wonder how many people feel they didn't get their breakthrough last night, that they're not any good. So again, what we teach is usually what we need to hear ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there. So again, sharing from my heart. And then I said, I'm going, wait a minute. My breakthrough was starting this being this just nutcase on Thursday, doing something on Friday. And here we are 4 days into this. And these kinds of things are happening. I am in my place. There's not more I have to do. It's more I have to be in me. So that's this little realization that I'm listening. And I'm here. And again, who loves recognition? And when we get to praise other people, that's pretty cool. Anybody else feel a little resistance in that conversation and in that dialogue of watching that? Because if we don't recognize the little things, they just keep building up, building up, building up, building up. So I shared mine. Nobody else has to. This isn't a, oh, well, okay. Hi, my name's Sean. I'm a recovering addict.
Just to allude to what Emily was talking about, I actually physically saw her last night and seeing the pain she was in, but even having the conversation, she was laying on the couch last night and I'm sitting in the chair and we were talking, and before I left, she was sitting up, then she was coming up the stairs, you know, with me to say goodbye to me. It was just like, it was so exciting. Like, it was just, you could see it happen right before your eyes. And it was awesome. Like, it was just so awesome to see that. And I can see.
Those animated conversations we have are very helpful.
They are very helpful. And it was just like, and I don't normally go over to her place. It was just because there was something I didn't have to pick up yesterday, but I did. And it was like, oh my gosh. And it was such a relaxing time. But we were both going like, we're just so excited. Like, we're just like, hang on to your bootstraps because we ain't seen nothing yet. I know it. But seeing her physically get up off that couch last night and I thought, this is a God thing. You know what I mean? Like, I can just.
Absolutely.
So awesome. It was just so awesome. And I'm so thankful to be a part of this. Just like Emily has said before in the past, like, the heavens have opened up, man, and because we've been speaking out, like, you know, okay, we need some help here. We need to, you know, and bang, here's some help. How do we meet Sean Murphy? Like, on Facebook. And I started like, what he said, I'm a farm boy from Illinois, and I'm thinking, I can relate to that because I'm a farm girl, you know, just those things. And it's just that little farm, when he said he's a farm boy, that little thing just clicked. I thought, I need to hear more from him, you know. I know he's placed in our lives for a reason, and I'm so excited about that. And I don't mean to take up any more time, but
that's the guilt showing up. That's the guilt showing up.
Well, yeah, sure.
I'm just saying.
I love it.
I'm done talking about me. I'm glad you're talking about me. Is all I
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think, you know, we've talked about like the ego is, you know, when we think that we're better than, but the ego is also anytime we think that it's when we're less than, that's still our ego, right? Well, I want to talk a minute about comfort zone, because we think our comfort zone is just about what's comfortable. Comfort zone is about what we know. It's what's familiar.
Absolutely.
Right? My pain had become part of my comfort zone.
Yes.
I even thought that to myself the other day, Kathy. I thought to myself when I was trying to go down the steps outside, am I starting to identify with this damn pain?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, but you see that moment when that happened to you the other day is part of what prepared you for last night.
Yeah.
It's what started opening you up to the possibility that might be happening, that you might be more in control of this than you thought. That awareness was already starting for you. But you know, some people are in love with their angst. Some people are in love with their drama. Some people are in love with that. And I mean, we can be addicted to a lot of things besides narcotics, right? And so I'm challenging me in 2019 to really look at this whole idea of a comfort zone. And Sean, part of this is getting up early, challenging the comfort zone. But I think Elaine was wanting to say something, and we got going on something. What were you wanting to share, Elaine?
No, hey, that's okay. This is an amazing call this morning. And a lot of these things I relate to. Let's just go there. But I was just trying to find it. Yesterday, I had put up a post, and it was, okay, behind every successful person, there's a lot of unsuccessful years. And, you know, I think about all of us that are on here, those that I know that are in networking and whatnot, and, you know, maybe a company change has happened and you're someplace else, and maybe you see people that, you know, are going faster than you or whatever. And it's part of a lot of the trainings that I do too, teaching people to put their blinders on, because this is your journey. This is your race. you're not competing with the person
Right.
beside you. And, you know, when we have been somewhere and succeeded quickly, you know, you hear the nattering in the background, which then affects you about, oh, well, how did they do this? They must have this, or somebody must have given them this. But when you've been doing this for 35 years, there's things you've learned along the way that you've improved on. You've been preparing for that moment, right? So it's kind of like, you know, your 35-year overnight success type deal. So
Yes.
just what you're all saying just resonates with everything that we do, that it's all in the right time for us. It's preparing for what's coming next. And, you know, interesting talking about the pain, like our, you know, just kind of working through some things, you know, that's going on in our world with our house and so on. And it's like, okay, I need to play it forward. I need to run some of those reels. What does it look like if this were to go this way? And be ready for, be prepared for certain things, so that, who was it? Somebody said something. If you're surprised by your success, you never believed that, you know, you never believed in the first place that you were going to succeed. That is powerful. That is powerful, because I think about, you know, I've been a part of a company where it went crazy and nobody expected it. And it's like, well, you know, and then it imploded. It kind of went crazy for that very reason. So that's a huge takeaway for me this morning, is being prepared for, you know, if you're going to do something, then do it with the end in mind of what's possible, and be ready for it, so that, you know, then you can experience the whole thing instead of being there in shock at the end. So I just want to say thank you. I have to jump off, but I want to say thank you to everybody who jumped on and shared this morning, because I have a busy day, and it's just kind of set the whole thing in the right track.
Thanks.
Appreciate you, Sean. Appreciate all of you guys sharing. I love being here.
I will see you when I get back. So I won't be here for the next week, and I won't be here till like next Friday. Yeah.
I'm excited about you going on your trip. I'm excited about the things that are happening. Anybody else have something that's like their ego saying, well, I don't need to talk. Everybody's getting ready to go. I'll just sit here and I'll work out. If there's something you've got to say or feel like it would benefit to share, do it, because this is the revealing, the opening. This is.
All right, here we go. Brace yourself. All right. So I'm listening to all this amazingness stuff that's happening. And honestly, I'm sitting here within my little ego head thinking, so what's my excuse? Because for me, it's completely, I think, comes from an emotional place of that feeling of lack, that I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy enough. I have no other excuses to not be successful. Yet here I sit on the wrong side of my wall, Sean, constantly trying to step to the side and go forward, and I fall back. I'm stuck. And I just, even though I'm moving forward, because I'm recognizing a whole lot of things as they happen and they roll out, but yet I just haven't had the breakthrough like you did, Emily, where it was just, I mean, I guess I did the other day, Sean, a little bit, because I recognize it, but yet I'm still not, that little bad guy on my shoulder is preventing me from continuously stepping into my greatness, and I'm over it. So what do I need, guys? What's going to catalyst me to the other side of my wall for good?
I've got an idea here. How about if we go back to speaking of, go back to the farm metaphor, speaking of getting up early. If you're going to get a crop that you're going to prosper by, and you want to plant a crop, first of all, you got to want to. You've got to have the opportunity to. You got to have a piece of land or the farm machinery or whatever. You've got to prepare the soil. And once you plant the seed, you've got to tend it. And on top of that, like Jim Rohn says, occasionally you're going to get your crop hailed on. So you have to have the mindset. I think the mindset of a farmer is something that we don't give enough credit to. because it embraces such an easy way of moving through our objectives. But there's all these stages you have to take into account. You got to have the desire to plant a crop. You got to have the opportunity. You got to have the plot of land, and you got to plant the seed. You got to prepare that soil, and then you got to tend to it. All the while, with some expectation that a certain amount of the time you're going to win, and occasionally you're going to lose. But that's just a rhythm that you can get into if you recognize those stages and work at each one of them.
I think, Leslie, recognition is the beginning, is the beginning of evolution. And I think at some point, I'm talking to myself here, you just go ahead and do it, because it's really funny how this works. And I think back to other periods in my life when I was afraid to do something, but I just decided to conquer the coward and get up there and do it. And as fearful as I was going into it, once I'm into it, all of that disappears and I find a rhythm and I just keep moving forward. And I think maybe that's where you're at right now, is like you're recognizing the blocks, but now just do those things that you've been resisting, do them. And as you get into them, all that fear, and you'll be like, what the hell was I so afraid of? That's my experience.
Thanks.
And there's a poem called Ithaca, and it talks about the purpose of Ithaca, this mystical place that we go. The purpose of Ithaca is not Ithaca. The purpose of Ithaca is to start you on the journey to get there. And that once you get there, it will have nothing left to give you, because it's given you the journey. And I think sometimes success is like Ithaca, that it's what sets us out, right? And I don't know you, Leslie, and so I don't really, I don't have a context to, but what I would say to you is this: one of the reasons when we feel like we're not attaining something, it might be that you need to redefine what success is for you, right? You may have this grandiose thing that you're waiting to happen, and you need to redefine what it is you should be celebrating. Maybe you're not giving yourself permission to celebrate enough of the journey, right? Maybe it's not about the big thing for you. Maybe it is about the day to day and what you did and what you stuck with, and celebrate that you fulfilled and honored your commitment to yourself. I think I've shared with this group before, my word for 2019 is daily. I struggle with this, right? All of us are into instant gratification, right? We all want to see the result now. Yeah. I have to learn to be, this is how I'm structuring it for myself, to be impatient with action and patient with results. So I'm going to be impatient with myself about taking action. I'm not going to allow myself to delay taking action, but I am going to be patient in the result. My job isn't the result. My job is the action.
Because it's more about who you become.
Correct.
Than what you get in the course of trying to get what you want to get.
Yeah. How did Jim Rohn say that? It was something about, oh, you guys will know this, Bob, Sean, you guys remember. It's you want to be a millionaire, not for the money, but the person you will become.
Right to it, yeah.
It's always about the journey.
On the journey, right? So what I would say is that the mundane may be what you're resisting, Leslie, that just doing the work itself may be what you're resisting, and that you don't want to just do the work. You want the result now. And maybe what you're resisting is that acceptance of it's not about the result. Not now, not right now. It's like to use the farming. You plant, you sow, you nurture, and then you harvest, right? I wrote a thing for myself in my journal the other day is that I'm not a harvester. I'm not much of a harvester. I'm a planter, right? I'm a planter. I like to plant the seeds. I'm a nurturer, but the harvesting seems to be for somebody else to do. The harvesting that I do seems to be from somebody else's work. My work seems to be the planting and the nurturing. And I think that there's a lot of truth in that, right? We want to harvest what we plant. And it brings back that saying, and I have no idea who first said it, but it's pretty rare that you find a man sitting under a tree that he planted.
Yeah.
Most of us, the trees we sit under, somebody else planted,
Yeah.
right? And yet we selfishly want to be able to sit under our own tree. But that's not how it works. Right?
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
That's right.
But I don't know. I just think for you, it's probably going to come down to this. And I love the farm analogy in this for you, because it maybe you have to fall in love with the day to day.
Yes.
You have to find some joy in the day to day.
And that's the key word there, the joy. Because again, tell me in your lifetime where you got up more than 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row at 4 a.m.
Oh, Sean, you forget what I do for a living.
No, I know, but that's what I said. That's the point. So you heard, and I knew the answer to that. I got up for my living, but in the last 3 days, you've gotten up for your life.
Yes. Actually, when I did this before was I did a live stream of Eric Worre's, one of his GoPro events. And, he gives you a 2-week window to watch the live streams when you paid for them. So yeah, I was up at 4 o'clock every morning, frantically writing as much as I could get from that when I first began doing this industry. So that was, I think, joy, and that was that's got to have been 4 years ago now, I think. So it's been, I guess I could say that it's been a while, and the joy, waking up with joy, comes and goes for me. Sean, with what we did yesterday with asking the question of what does your lack look like? For me, it is a dark, angry sea that rolls in and rolls out. So there's times when that sea is dark, but it's calm, and I can allow things to happen. And then other times it's just turmoil that I'm always kind of trying to fight. Like I'm in a kayak on the sea and I'm fighting to move forward because I'm stuck in my lack all the time. So that was kind of a huge recognition for me yesterday. It's just how stuck I keep myself. And it's really silly because, like your pain, Emily, I can step to the other side of it as soon as I decide to. But it's making that decision and not being afraid of what's on the other side, I think.
Yeah, and also just making sure that you don't over-define stuck.
Ooh, giving it too much power.
Yeah, because stuck is a thing to you, right? Stuck
Drilled into me, yeah.
Stuck is a big thing to you. Just get rid of stuck. You're not stuck. Even if you're not stuck. Stuck is a choice.
Yeah.
Why can't part of me believe I need this stuckness?
Yeah.
Back to asking the questions like Bob was talking about yesterday. If I give this up, who won't be punished anymore?
Yeah, there's a lot to that, right? The mundane is only the mundane when we put that kind of emotion to it. Right? You get to choose the feeling. The feeling isn't a result. The feeling is a choice. And I still love what in the beginning, when we were talking about, you have to want it. You have to want to do it. You have to want to be unstuck. You have to be willing to not be stuck.
So the good thing about being stuck might be, answer that 5 times.
Mhm.
And answer the good thing about being focused on what I really want might be, and answer that 5 or 10 times. Because there's nothing like being clear about the criteria for your success. You know, it's the old thing of, if you don't know what port you're headed toward, any destination will do.
Yeah, which way? I think that Alice in Wonderland, Bob, when you pop that up, I can just see that.
Yeah. I just
Where
read
do you
about
want to go? Well, how do I get to, where do you want to wind up? I don't know. Then the destination doesn't matter. The direction doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So part of what popped into my head, love, is that there's not a defined destination, but the defined destination may be so far out you can't see it. So I would define, how do you want to feel today? In the next hour, do you want to be stuck or unstuck? And then recognizing it sooner, right? Because for something to go from a beautiful sea to this calm, dark, it has to move in. You said it moves in. So in the moving, you can recognize, being a captain on a ship, we could look for clouds, right? We ain't got as much time as a plane to fly around them, but you're going, that could be weather, which way is it going? Okay, let's adjust course. As opposed to, where the hell did the storm come from? Holy crap! What? Somebody pasted sunny sunshines on the inside of the window of the cabin. That's called living in falsehood as well. But I got to tell you, when you show up this morning, when you show up yesterday morning, when you show up on my posts, that's you on the Fiji side, not the DG side. So in your giving, you leave the DG side. So might be is that, why do you feel it's not okay to receive? That's just what's popping up. So just let all of this stuff sink in. Answer the questions 5 times, like Bob said. Being stuck, the answer might be releasing this, living in my joy. The best solution, the best reason for it might be, this is so cool.
Yeah, but I really want to challenge you to think about this whole concept of stuck and what it means and what it doesn't mean. When we feel stuck, it usually means we feel confined, right? We start putting some context to stuck. Why do you think you're stuck? How is stuck showing up? What's not happening? And what lack are you giving power to that's holding you in place? Is it lack of time, lack of money, lack of energy? What is that like? Because when we feel stuck,
I can tell you exactly what it is, because I've thought I don't feel deserving of it. Why don't I feel deserving of it? Because, well, I can say, so for Sean, you'll kind of get this. I keep talking to you about how is it that all of these amazing souls are gathering around me and enveloping me into their truths, right? And I don't feel that I'm deserving because I haven't done the work to be there. I'm not on their level, yet they're bringing me in. And I feel I just feel like I'm lying because they're taking me in, these top earners, and I'm not anywhere near there. I'm not deserving, yet here I am. Why? Ooh, yeah, I got some work to do, can you tell? But I'm doing it. I'm opening up and I'm trying to get to the other side of this. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, but I really want you to though think in terms of you're making assumptions and decisions about not just yourself, but about other people.
Other people.
Right? Mm-hmm. And where they are and what it took for them to get there. We lift as we climb, right? Mm-hmm. And when we have this idea that the old saying, to a fourth grader, a fifth grader is God, right? But the fifth grader had to get through fourth grade to get there,
Yes.
right? Every person that's there that you see at a different place than you had to be in the place you're in to get to the place they are, right? So they're not higher than you. They're just in a different place from you.
They've been there. They've walked these steps. They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like the rest of us.
Right. And I think once you humanize that and you neutralize this sense of permission, and I do think permission is a big thing here. I think permission is a huge thing here. And there's a guy in this, and Sean and I've talked about this mastermind we're in several times, but I'm not the top anything. I'm not in the top earners. I'm not in the top producers. I'm not even in network marketing, right? I'm in corporate. I'm a business executive, right? And I'm a good one, and I worked really hard to get to where I am. But when I stepped into this mastermind, where there are people that are like really in these incredible, they have these incredible, I don't know what the word credential is, but they have this, they're the top this or the top that or the top percent or the top 2 or and they're Emmy winners and they all, and I'm like, I'm not any of those things. What am I doing here? Right?
Yeah.
And then I would think, why am I here? And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to quit questioning why I'm here as if it's a deserving thing. And I'm going to start saying, what am I here to contribute? Instead of being fixated on them, I'm going to start focusing on what am I here to contribute? Your wisdom isn't any less than anyone else's. Your life experience isn't any less than anyone else's. It's different because it's yours.
Mm.
And you have to be willing to show up proud of that without that being comparative. We have a guy in our group, Tim Cole, who's a 31-year colonel, retired. And he, the first few meetings we were at, he would just sit there like, I don't even know what I'm doing here with you people. I haven't done anything. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You haven't done anything. Here's the thing. I haven't done anything if I say I haven't done anything unless I've done your thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? I'm not supposed to do your thing. You're not supposed to do my thing. We're supposed to do our thing. Right? You can't ever say I haven't done anything because I haven't done what you did. That's discrediting everything you've done. And you can't allow that. You can't allow other people to do it, and you can't allow yourself to do it. That's like saying, I haven't had a child because Mason isn't mine. Mason's not my kid. Lauren's my kid. I can't say I haven't had a child because I didn't have Sean's kid. I wasn't supposed to have Sean's kid. I was supposed to have my kid. But we see what I'm saying? We take this idea that if we haven't done what you do, if we haven't done what you've done, we haven't done anything. No, that's so wrong. That's so wrong. We've done what we've done. And there is the beauty. There is the power. I mean, here I am in this group of these people that have done all these fantastic, wonderful things, and they call me the Oracle. And I'm like, I'm just really well read. And I put context to things, which means I can remember them. So when we're in conversations, I can contribute. But I had to give myself permission to be me and to take my experience into the conversation. And those people that you see as being in a different place than you, I got news for you. If you're in the fourth grade and they're the fifth grade, there's a third grader looking at you saying, wow. Right? We just got to we got to let who we are and what we've done and what's happened with us be our joy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Leslie, when you're in contact with your undeserving, what kind of undeserving is that?
I guess I just feel that I haven't done the work. So that's pretty much where the undeserving comes from.
And when you're feeling that you haven't done the work, what could happen next?
Action, do the work, step to the other side of the wall, find it.
You need to read Stephen Pressfield's Do the Work.
Do the work, Stephen Pressfield. Okay.
And would you like that?
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry, I'm writing that down. Do the work. Okay. Yes. I mean,
I'm just giving you a little teaser about how we can take our internal metaphors and mature them based on our own internal guidelines, our own internal compass, and eventually find our own way.
Mm-hmm.
Not from, we can't take direction from anybody else, like Kathy says.
Yes.
But if you pay attention to how you're feeling and what those feelings are telling you, you know, when what's her name had her pain in her hips, I might have asked, well, if that pain could talk, what might that pain say?
Oh.
What's that pain trying to teach you? What's it trying to suggest to you?
I think it's more of what it's trying to prevent you from.
And when you're preventing yourself from whatever it is, what could happen next?
What could happen next or what will happen next? Because there's a difference in that. I think that it's just a matter of it's finding my way to the want more. I think that the want is going to become more than the lack, and giving myself permission to allow the abundance to come into my life.
And to know what you really want,
mm-hmm.
more specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other side of this is understanding too, guys, is a lot of these things that come up that have this semi role of protecting us, whether that's pain or whatever that might be. Sometimes if you can make peace with it as it's trying to serve you and it's just got its wires crossed.
That's an easy analogy. Yes.
Right? Right? That what if this is here to serve me? Fear. What if fear is here to serve me? It's my brain trying to protect me. It's that lizard brain trying to keep me from falling off the edge of the world, right? But it's just got its wires crossed, right? Yeah, think of it like spell check. It thinks it knows what you meant to say, but it really has no clue. Right? And
Yes.
sometimes you just got to turn it off.
Yes.
Right? And you just got to say, and you know what? You can say thank you to it. You can say, hey, listen, this fear, thank you. I know you were here to serve me. You were here to protect me. Thank you. Your job is done. You've done your job. I release you and you can go on to do other things. I'm good. You know, there's something about making friends with it. Sean had a beautiful way of doing this. I think the first time we were together when he said, how is that making you feel? And can you say, and I love it? Right?
A lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you make peace with it, you stop fighting it, you stop the angst of it, you release a ton of energy that now you can put into a positive direction.
Thank you.
And
This has all been so needed to hear.
All right, guys, listen, I got to pop off because I've got another meeting coming up, but I did want to say I love everybody. I'm so thrilled, Sean, that we're doing this. I will be out for the next week or so. I'm going to do my best to be back next Friday, but I will tell you honestly, I could be in this 3-hour jet lag thing, and I'm not sure it'll feel like 3:30 in the morning. But so it may be that Monday. I don't know what you guys are doing in those things, but I'm excited about this group and being a part of it. I love you all. I love all the conversations and contributions that are happening. And and those of you that have sent friend requests on Facebook, thank you. And I suspect you will see many pictures of snow.
Press warm.
I grew up in the Great Lakes region, right? But I haven't lived in the Great Lakes region for a very, very long time. So I think this is going to be my first white Christmas in, I don't know how long, maybe 50 years. So I'm actually really looking forward to playing in the snow.
I love it.
Fun.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Love
Yes,
it, Candy. Thank you.
thank you guys all so much. It means the world.
So, and again, so part of this community, part of any community, whether it be 1, 2, or 2 million, is that if one person's world gets better, all of our worlds get better.
Amen.
And so then the question is that, so we're going to do a little flip. How do we're not worthy of having you here.
Mm.
Imagine if we felt that.
Mm.
Imagine if we weren't worthy. Imagine if we said, we're not worthy to watch you unfold and flower in this new experience. I'm not worthy to watch that. I haven't been through the pain you have. I haven't been through the successes you have. I haven't been through the torments you have. I haven't been through, I shouldn't even be able to watch this. So now you're the 4th grader who I'm the 3rd grader going, oh my God, she's a God.
Uh-huh.
Mm. Sean Murphy. Mm-mm.
Change the way we look at things, and the things we look at change.
Mhm.
We're all pretty amazing souls, and the philosophy and the camaraderie of 1 + 1 isn't 2 in this synergy. It is 102. It's 1,001. It's just so your courage, your vulnerability this morning is more than some of the people that you hang around with that you show up here. You say they're up there. Oh my God, I haven't done the work. You are doing the work. You are being more vulnerable than most of them. So you absolutely deserve a seat at the table. You deserve to be sitting at the head of the table. When somebody goes, well, how do we get our team to go through this transformation? Maybe you're going to be the poster child for transformation. And that's the deserving result that you have, where people go, yeah, but my story, I was in El Paso, right? And nobody was there. And for 40 days, I made presentations and nobody showed up. That's the El Paso story. Well, what's so where are you now in California? Where do you live? What I know you moved, right? You moved the new house. What?
I'm in Santa Clarita.
Santa
Just north
Clarita.
of LA.
So guess what? You now have the Santa Clarita story that everybody in the world needs to hear.
Mm.
So instead of everybody else's story, now take the LH story, and it's the Santa Clarita. Have you heard of the Santa Clarita story? Oh my gosh. You got to hear the Santa Clarita. Tell them the Santa Clarita story. Couldn't go, no house, no this, no that. Get there, the fires come, you're not there again. You're traveling, got horses, moving this. And then all of a sudden you started to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning when you were already exhausted, and you have this breakthrough.
Mm.
Isn't that cool? So I can say I was there when the Santa Clarita story started.
You're the reason the Santa Clarita story is going. You were the major catalyst,
We all play our parts.
Mr. Sage.
Oh, and Bob put it up last night. Pretty fun. I love this. I'm going to go get a t-shirt. A sage with a stage. And then he put, because of his wisdom that he continues to add, sages with stages and preachers in the bleachers.
Hey, Bob, I have a question for you. Could you please next or tomorrow morning, can you let us see who you are?
My camera doesn't work right at the moment.
Oh, that's why. Okay, too bad.
I'm on Facebook if you want to see what I look like. Bob
It's
Parks.
just a matter of feeling more, you hear, but it's like hear and see is an extra perk. That's all. Cool.
Well, folks, it's 7:41, and part of having joy is also putting on some breaks of not joy, but letting us go out and now experience it on our own. I'm blessed. And again, I got to tell you, 4 o'clock came, I was ready. I'll meditate here in bed. And it's like, well, right? So I love Kathy. I love every one of you. I love Emily's release and story. And for Linda to watch this, it was like, you know, she went to somebody's healing session and they went healed, and she got up off the couch and walked up the stairs. I mean, but she did that. We have this inside of us. So use your Emily story, use your Santa Clarita story, use your I'm going to Alaska story and I'm not afraid anymore. Use your I'm starting a 6:30 a.m. call in the morning and I don't know what the hell is going to happen story. We all have our stories. Use your story today. Go have an amazing day. Make the world a better place in your world, and all of our worlds will get better.
Amen. Thanks,
I love
Sean.
you tons.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.